So TikTok is flooded with self-proclaimed gurus preaching various growth tactics around SEO, hashtags, time of day, when to post. But unfortunately, all of these things have very little impact on you actually getting consistent views and growing your account. So in this video, I'm going to be sharing a system broken into two parts that's going to help you actually sustain views on TikTok by focusing on by far the most important metric. So just before I go into it, I just want to address the whole SEO hashtags topic. I'm not saying that these don't matter at all. I'm just saying stop overcomplicating it by trying to come up with some perfect SEO hashtag strategy like all the gurus are preaching. Just pick 3 to 5 hashtags related to your niche/video, put a title and description that relates to what you're talking about, and post sometime in the evening every day. Done. Simple. Stop overthinking it. And so next time you see a TikTok guru talking about their new hashtag strategy, just ignore it because they're just doing it for views, and then they all start copying each other, and then their videos go viral, which then makes you think that the hashtag strategy actually works when it doesn't, and they don't actually have any evidence that says that their new hashtag strategy is doing any better or worse than the one that they were preaching last month. So what do you need to focus on? So the most important thing to focus on TikTok, which can be proven time and time again, is how do you get your audience to watch your videos for longer, therefore increasing your watch time and also increasing your completion rate. And if you don't believe me, just go through your videos and look at your highest performing videos compared to your lowest performing ones, and you will see an upward trend where when more people complete your video, you get more views. And you need to understand, like, content creation is a marathon, not a sprint. And having a structured approach ensures consistent long-term success rather than just trying to like grow with these hacks, tips and tricks and gimmicks that, yes, you might get the occasional viral video, but then you can't sustain it. This happens all the time. People will have a video pop off and then they can't replicate it because there was no system in place that got them there in the first place. They were just doing these little tips and tricks and hacks, and you're actually not really improving much as a content creator. So let's get into the system. So as I said before, it's split into two parts: ideation and execution. And each of those is then split into two subparts. So the first part of the ideation stage is just kind of coming up with your ideas. And you want to use some sort of model for this. So the one that I like to use is looking at desire, problem, outcome. So figuring out what your audience desires, what's stopping them from getting or achieving that, which is usually a problem or a challenge, and how can your content come in to overcome that, to deliver an outcome that allows them to achieve their desire. This is going to give you a really good starting point to just being able to come up with a long list of ideas. However, the biggest problem with this is just because you think you know what your audience desires and what problems they have doesn't necessarily mean that's going to do well on TikTok. There might still be a misalignment between what you think they want and what they actually want. And this happens all the time on TikTok when you create a video that you think is really good, it solves a problem, it's a banging video, and it flops. And the reason why it flops is usually one or two things or both. One being, it's not really the content that your audience wants and it doesn't solve the problem. And then two, it's probably not being packaged in a way to retain the viewer. So how do we solve this problem for ourselves as content creators? Well, this moves on to the second stage of ideation, which is research. This basically involves validating your ideas by looking at other successful content creators in your niche and seeing what videos have worked well and done well for them on TikTok. So look at their highest performing videos, note down the topics, see whether there are any similarities between the problems and ideas that you came up with and what's doing well for them. Because if you just constantly create content blindly, you'll just have far less chance of going viral and having consistent success on TikTok. So as I said, you want to use basically other people's already existing videos to prove and validate your ideas are the right ideas to actually execute on, because you know that your target audience has already shown to respond well to that. And by doing this as well, you'll also be able to create lots of fresh new ideas for yourself that you hadn't actually thought about. And if you've got this mindset like, I don't want to copy it, I just want to create unique content, like most content is not unique these days anyway, so you just need to kind of get over that mindset. And we're not actually just blanket copying content here, we're just taking the ideas that have worked for them and turning them into our own. And so that brings us nicely onto the second stage of the system, which is execution. So now you've got this long list of ideas that you've kind of validated, which allows you to prioritize what to focus on first. We now want to think about how can we turn these ideas kind of into our own content with our own style. And so as I've said before, the key KPI that we want to optimize our videos for is watch time. And one of the easiest ways to do this, to keep people engaged, to keep people watching, is through storytelling. And if you can master this, it is so powerful with holding viewers' attention. However, it's not going to be easy turning ideas into stories. It really isn't. It takes time and it takes practice. But what I'd recommend you doing is just going away, going on YouTube, finding some books on storytelling, learning the principles of storytelling, how each story is broken down into different elements, and then start to think about how you can do that for your ideas. And if you're still stuck, you should also look at other content creators that are really good at storytelling across all niches, just to kind of get an idea of how they're actually executing like their ideas into stories. Like you don't have to just focus on people within your niche. Like I'll often just, if I see a creator that like pops up on my TikTok and is just told a really good story, I'm like, wow, like I'll go straight on their profile, I look what other videos they've done and start to think, okay, like how have they done this? How have they done that? How can I implement that into my own ideas? And as I said before, it's gonna take time, it's gonna take patience, but just keep at it. Like storytelling as a skill, like is not just something that will help you as a content creator, but will help you in so many different aspects of life. And so moving on to the final part of the system, it is editing. I know there are going to be some people, and they often say this on TikTok, you don't need to have fancy editing, you don't need to do edits. Yes and no, it all depends what niche you're in. If you're in a TikTok tips video niche where you can just point and shoot on your phone and film yourself recording anywhere, anytime, and upload that, and people don't care about quality, yeah, fine. But if you're in a niche such as like the gaming niche, whose a lot of my content is aimed at, you can't just film that on your phone. Like you have to actually clip up gaming clips, and like the audience is tough. Like you have to actually be a good editor. So editing is important to some extent. And even if you are one of these kind of like point and shoot TikTokers, if you want to be a sustainable content creator and one day move over to YouTube, you will have to learn how to start properly editing. You can't do that point and shoot stuff on YouTube and get away with it. You really can't. So again, it's a really important skill to actually learn and will come in handy if you want to be a content creator for long term. And so what are the actionable points here? Like how do you actually get better at editing? I find that the best way to improve as an editor is to just pay attention to how other people edit and then pick up on the techniques that they use and think, could I implement that? Or that was really cool, I want to do that for my own edits. And you can start really basic by just doing like zooms and cuts and B-roll, and then you can move on to more complex stuff where maybe you're doing like motion effects and you're sound layering and you've got loads of different cutscenes and B-roll, but that can be just something that you work on and progress on over time. And you could set yourself the goal of maybe every video or every week you try and implement one new editing style or practice into your video, and that will allow you to have a system within this system that continues to develop you as an editor. And so to sum it up, if you can take this idea/concept list that has proven to work on TikTok through other creators' success, take those ideas, start to turn them into your own stories with your own unique personality, combined with effective and appropriate editing, you will start to pop off at some point. It might take a week, it might take a month, it might take 6 months, but you will get there so long as you have a system like this in place, because you are continuing to learn and get better as a content creator, doing the things that you actually need to get better at for longevity. And when you do pop off, you are in a much better place in order to be able to sustain it and maintain it because of the things that you've learned and the system that you've built.